Chapter 4 A Faithful Dog. Every weekday, Professor Ueno took the train to work. So, in the morning, he walked from his house to Shibuya station. But before he left home, he always played with Hachiko in the yard, and then said goodbye to him. Some mornings, Mrs. Ueno came to the door and watched, and said, "Remember your train." "Goodbye," the professor laughed then. "Have a good day, Hachiko. Be good. Don't jump and play with the clothes on the washing line." And he went into the street, closed the yard gate with a smile, and walked to the station. One morning, when the professor left home, Hachiko suddenly jumped over the gate and ran down the little street. Professor Ueno heard a noise behind him, and when he looked, there was Hachiko. "Go home, Hachiko," the professor told the dog. "Go home, now." But Hachiko did not want to go home, and he sat down. "I am going to work, Hachiko. You can't come with me," said the professor, and he began walking down the street. But the dog got up and walked behind him. The professor laughed. "So, you want to come to the station with me? All right, I understand. But then you must go home." Half an hour later, at the house, Mrs. Ueno looked for Hachiko. He was not in the yard, and he was not in the shed. But then she saw Hachiko at the yard gate, on the street. He jumped over the gate and went to Mrs. Ueno with his tail up. "Where were you?" she asked. But he looked happy. So she patted him on the head, and he went to sleep in the warm sun. The next morning, Hachiko wanted to go with the professor again. "No, Hachiko, stay," the professor said when he shut the gate. But after 5 minutes, he heard Hachiko behind him again. The professor looked at his dog and smiled. "Go home, Hachiko," he said kindly. But the dog did not go home. He walked with his master to Shibuya station, and then he came home again. After that, Hachiko went to the station every morning, and in the evening too. Every day at 6 o'clock, he jumped over the yard gate and went along the little streets to Shibuya station. When Hachiko arrived there, he sat and waited near the ticket office. He wagged his tail happily when he saw his master, and he then walked home with him. Soon Hachiko had many friends at the station. When people saw him there every day, they smiled. "Look at the professor's faithful dog," they said. The professor told us all about this when we came, I love to hear these stories about his special dog. One winter's day, there was a lot of snow, in Tokyo. My parents did not open their stall that day. No one is going to buy yakitori today, they said. But the next day the weather was better, and that evening Professor Ueno came and drank green tea at our stall with Hachiko. Hachiko is a very special dog, Nabu, the professor said to me that evening. Yesterday morning, when I saw the snow, I said to him, "Stay here, Hachiko. Go to your bed. It's cold today. Don't come with me." But Hachiko didn't want to stay. He walked to the station with me and then went home. And yesterday evening he walked to the station again and waited in the snow. When I arrived, his coat was white from the snow, and his paws was very cold. He came and slept in our house last night because he needed to get warm. My father said to me later, "Professor Ueno's dog is special, Nabu, but his master is special too. He is a good man. He's very kind to people and very kind to animals."